evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, off the Motor City Man Mouth. Have a good group. Of course, this is a group you're going to be working with for a while. It's always a possibility that the sixth person will be a guest. You never know. But we have a loaded show tonight. Title is definitely what it is. NBA legend Pat Riley defines culture. We'll get to that in a little bit. Have a lot of very interesting subjects as well. Off to my right is Jacob Christner, Mr. Opinion. Welcome back,
Mr.
Jacob.
Fact.
There you go, that too. And we got Candy, statistician Ebling.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Scott.
And we got George Pinata Eichhorn.
Oh man, I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm Pinata.
Okay.
Hi.
And we got Chris Don King Pizza.
Get your hair up there, Pazaya.
I wish I
That's
had
nice.
more, but this is it.
Like
Yeah,
mine.
that's all right.
Like mine.
It's our age,
Yeah.
and then you realize what no hair is. But all right, anyway, have a great group tonight. Got a lot to get to, but before I get going here, Chris, why don't you let everybody know what's going on Friday night?
Friday night, we got a big show on NYMLB Talk at 10 o'clock Eastern. Check out myself and Rob. Obviously, we're the co-hosts, but we got two special guests, right? The one that's right up here with us right now, Scott Motor City Madmouth himself will be there, but he's going to be facing up against the New York City Madmouth, Anthony Savino. He's a huge Mets fan. He's loud and he's proud about it. So I'm looking forward to both of you guys going at it on Friday night. It should be fun.
I'm looking forward to the way you guys are building this thing up. You guys make it look like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, two heavyweights. Hey, listen, I'm always game for a battle with a lot of energy, man. I'll take it all day long. But before we get to Joe and Muhammad, we got to take care of some business.
Rumble in the jungle, baby.
Yeah, well, I only had that. Wasn't that the George Foreman one? Oh, that's right.
I don't know.
All right, there's a rumble somewhere.
I'm not a boxing guy, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, where's Steve Reichel when we need him? Gleaming over the new cord we're about to give him so he can keep his podcast. I need this guy. He's my horse out there. Anytime I can keep a horse rolling, I got to make sure I feed him a little bit of hay. Steve, if you're watching, listening, it's okay. All right, so we're going to get going. I'm going to be all over the map tonight. We're going to start off with a Jamel Hill cites Brittany Griner's Russian detainment as a reason the WNBA should increase pay. All right, Jacob, what are your thoughts?
Oh God. You just said Jamel Hill, my eyes rolled. But here's the thing. No, because in the end, it is about there's one lady that deserves, and possibly Becker's in the future, that deserves that kind of pay if they get to theirs. Maybe Angel Reese if her shoes go, and if they get to those. But there are so few that are bringing in the money that you would get for ratings or any of that kind of stuff that deserve the money. The whole thing that I say all the time is whatsoever. When we saw those T-shirts saying "Pay us what you owe us," it should have been Caitlin, pay me what you owe me, and the back of everybody else's shirt saying "Thank her." It's just the truth. It's just the truth, though. But I like what the WNBA is starting to do. They're starting to spend money to try to promote the league. But no, you still have to be able to bring money back in, and they're not. The NBA is still losing money off them. And they're probably going to lose it this year, knowing that Caitlin hasn't played much. She's been injured.
Uh-oh.
So it's like they're going to lose money again, unfortunately. But no, they don't deserve that.
All right, Candy.
Do I want to see women get paid more? Of course I do. But at what expense? Do we want the league to fold because we can't afford to, we're paying the players and we're not taking in the revenue? No, I don't want it to fold. Would I like to see more? Of course I would like to see more. But they have to draw more in order to get paid more. So they got to have more people, more ladies drawing fans in and selling more, whether it be shoes, whether it be whatever it be. They need to market their product like the NFL markets their product, because if they did that, they would be able to get paid more.
George?
Well, I agree that they do deserve an increase, but it's always easier said than done. like Candy just stated, I mean, and Jacob, the league is subsidizing, and they always have the NBA has always been subsidizing that league and helping it get started. Well, my gosh, by now I would have thought that, hey, maybe they're almost ready or have already started on their own. But that's not the case, obviously. So as far as the salaries go, I mean, yeah, I mean the league has become more popular as we know the last several years, and great ladies, great athletes. They're really great, and they've got a great product that they're displaying. But the thing is that you got to have a two-way street on that. The owners of these teams, of the WNBA teams, rather, they've got to be willing to up the ante as well. And you got to have intense negotiations with the WNBA and their Players Association and the owners. And I don't know how much of that gets publicized because I don't hear much about the negotiations. But that being said, Scott, yeah, they deserve more money. I don't know where she's coming. Brittany. I mean, I just don't want to get into that whole side about her being held by Russia and all that. But I mean, the bottom line is, yeah, they do need to get more money. Yeah, but it comes only after a solid product is delivered consistently.
Okay, Chris.
Listen, they definitely deserve more money, right? Because they are getting bigger crowds now. They're selling out the big arenas, right? Yeah, thanks to Caitlin Clark, without a doubt. They are riding this momentum from her. But you got to remember, we got all these other great players coming in, like Paige Buckers came in. She's really popular. Her team's not doing that well yet, but, it's going to take time. And they just signed a big TV deal, right? Before this season. So they are bringing in more money. So why they're losing money, I have no idea. It makes no sense. So somebody should be getting into that.
Chris, the reason they're losing it they did get a deal with Ion and they got those. That's not a huge deal, but it's a better deal than they had. And they had a shared one with ESPN. But one of the issues that they have with this is the fact that it's like, yeah, we talked about this, and I've talked about it on the deal before. Yeah, they have to go to Russia, and they have to have all that kind of stuff like this. But the biggest thing is the one that is the reason they need to be is the one that needs to get paid at that moment because she brought every chance that you could possibly get. If you get Caitlin Clark in there at that point in time, she could start her own league, and even Angel would follow in. Because it would just be that league. But, I mean, Angel, this is the thing, and it's not a thing against Angel's play, even though it's kind of funny sometimes. It's kind of funny sometimes that Angel Reese can't start her own league.
Right, she's like a Dennis Rodman, right? Yeah, she's a good defender, and she's a good rebounder.
Yeah. She's a great rebounder, rebounding her own stuff. But,
right.
You're right, but that's the thing. She couldn't start her own league. Name the one that could start her own league and pay her. Start there. But until that, if you don't pay her, they can't pay anyone.
Right. No, but it doesn't. But
she is it.
Then don't have a league. If you can't pay the players, right, then don't have a league.
Oh, I'm sorry. Agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you, Chris.
But the attendance is going up. The ratings are going up. They got the new TV deal. I'm sure they're going to sign a new TV deal soon anyway because everything is going up. So should they be paid more? Yeah, they should be paid. Listen, I don't think they should be paid millions of dollars, and I'm sure they don't want as much as the NBA players. All they want, this is all what they want. They want a bigger piece of the pie, right? The NBA players, how much percentage of the revenue do they get? Right? They get like 50%, right? I would think.
Yeah.
Let's say they get 50%. WNBA players are getting nowhere near that. So maybe if you up that a little bit, then you could have an argument. But they definitely deserve more. They shouldn't have to go to Russia to play games, right? That's not, at least give them entertainment money, like whatever it is. I don't know what the amount is. I'm not a financial guy, but it should be more than what they're getting.
And I'm agreeing with you, Chris. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, so here's what we have. Okay, Chris, you really nailed it pretty much near the end. Here's what you have. Jemele Hill, I don't always agree with everything she says, okay? She's probably the one person I agree with the least of who is out there. Right. But this time I see her point, and I'll say why I see her point, okay? Because of the Russian detainment looked bad. And yes, Chris, you were dancing around it, that you shouldn't have to go to Russia to subsidize your income. And I repeat the word subsidize your income. Nobody says you have to go out there and give them a king ransom yet. The league hasn't proven that it could be sufficiently stable for a long time. But you don't want to make sure that they have to go somewhere for a second job. And that's where I see where Jamel is coming from. That's why I brought this topic, a second job, much less put yourself at risk somewhere like that. But I see the point, and that's why I brought it on. So, Jamel, I'm kind of with you on this one. I do agree with you. They certainly need to be paid more money, and time will tell if they do indeed go ahead and get a little bit more. Lots of things to get to today.
Can I quick add?
Sure.
I was just reading that, however, so estimates place 2023 revenue for the WNBA at around 200 million. The league recently secured a new media rights deal effective 2026, valued at approximately $200 million per season, suggesting the potential for growth. So that new media deal starts next year.
And not only that, and I'm not going to get into specifics on this topic as well. There are some expansion fees coming in the next few years as well. Not going to get into that tonight. Way too much to get to, but I certainly wanted to talk about this with Jamel. I definitely see her point. And the Brittany Griner was a wake-up call to try to get more money in that particular situation. I understand it and I see it. And I'm trying to look down the middle objectively to it. So, all right. Hey, Mickey, good to see you back in here as well. So let's go out to Sacramento. The Oakland A's temporary stay at Sacramento Suter Health Park has been actually fraught with challenges leading to mounting frustration among players and staff. We knew this wasn't going to be an easy situation in the first place. And for the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to have to find a way to make it work. Chris, what are your thoughts about what's going on with the A's?
It's a bad situation, and it's been a bad situation for how many years now, starting in Oakland and now here. And you know what? They're playing in a minor league ballpark. You know, the balls are flying out there. It's horrible. But listen, this is one of those things where Major League Baseball, since they waited so long to fix this situation in Oakland, that they're just going to have to, you know, suck it up and take their medicine, right? like we used to do when we were kids, right? Hold our noses, take our medicine for a couple of years until they move to Vegas. It's as simple as that. It stinks. It's horrible, but you know what? It's the league's fault that they're in this situation. So deal with it, move on, and Las Vegas can't come here soon enough.
Great points. All right, George.
Well, yeah, I think it's we obviously Manfred and the MLB powers that be have egg on their face. I mean, we didn't anticipate two, not just Sacramento, but then our friends in Tampa Bay with their situation, of course, was an act of nature. But the Sacramento situation, I agree with what you said, Chris. I mean, this has just been boiling over and it just was delayed, all kinds of stupid reasons. And people not wanting to help the city, help the economy down there in Oakland or build a new place in Oakland because of whatever reason. Listen, this is not something that could not have been done any more crazy than it has been. I think the fans are trying to support that team as much as they can in Sacramento. Yes, it's still minor league stadium. Yes, you're going to have problems from everything from concessions, parking, locker rooms, whatever else they have, grounds crew, whatever. It's not Major League Baseball ready. And, you know, you're taking it and now you got to live with it for 2 more years at least, it looks like.
Jacob.
This reminds me of a little piece of trivia I'm about to give. There was 1969. There was a team called the Seattle Pilots.
Yeah.
The Sick Stadium from Emil Sick himself, and they were working on getting a new stadium. And I don't know if you know about this, Chris. I'll tell you this little story. They were looking to get their nice new stadium. Day one, opening day of the stadium, they were still building platforms and seats in there, and people were staying outside waiting for them before the game started. Things were horrible. It was awful. And then they found out throughout the season, as they were going on, if you had 10,000 people in the stadium, it was fine. But once you had 25,000, the plumbing went to hell.
Oh,
so they had to rent porta potties, which ended up getting people locked in those porta potties sometimes because it was the night game and everybody drunk and everything. All kinds of ridiculousness. 1 year and they were gone, and that was the Milwaukee Brewers, by the way. And those were the things like that. That was the reason they became the Milwaukee Brewers in the first place, because they had that 1 year in Seattle like that before they became the Mariners in '76. But this is the situation we're dealing with in 2025. You can understand 1969. Not now. This is just stupid. This is just ridiculous. This is just, you know what this is? This childish, how they handled the whole Oakland situation. These are billionaires acting like 9-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got this situation, and now you got 2 more years of this. And I bet you get plumbing issues in that stadium eventually too.
I don't know about that. All right.
No, it could happen, especially if they start getting people. It's like, and they get more of those. You could have that. You can never know. It's like, it's gonna be crazy.
Yep.
Candy.
We're going to build a stadium, $1.75 billion for a price tag. They signed the bill back in Nevada in 2023 for the funding, and yet they didn't break ground till June of 2025. Why are you dragging your feet? I mean, now the stadium's not going to be ready till 2028. So they're going to be where they're at for how many years? They're hurting the revenue of MLB. They're hurting their own revenue, but this is their own fault because they knew this was happening. They saw the writing on the wall and they didn't act fast enough. And I'm sorry, but you need to be proactive instead of reactive. And now you're being reactive to 2 stadiums that you're playing in minor league ballparks. Shame on the MLB.
So let me ask you guys this, okay? We're talking about a minor league park. Would you rather play in Oakland in front of 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 fans in a 45, 50,000 seat stadium? You ever been to Miami? Hello, they don't draw a lot down there either, and that's a brand new stadium. So here's what you have: you have an old stadium, which is, by the way, now they're using it for cricket out at the Coliseum for cricket, okay? Or you go to a place where at least you have some sort of a home field advantage where the majority of the places got fans screaming for you. You know, you're in a catch-22. I mean, they went the best possible place they could go. Again, it's putting a Band-Aid on top of a sore. But you want to overpay on a lease in Oakland. Have any of you people been to the Oakland Coliseum before? Ever? Any of you?
No. Is it that bad?
Jacob?
Is it that bad?
There, no.
Well, here, I have. I covered the Lions and the Oakland Raiders there. And I'm going to tell you something. I've seen some neighborhoods that spook you, but that one does. And when there aren't many of them there and you're doing it at night, hey, go to Sacramento. I've been to Sacramento. It's a decent town. I understand the circumstances are anything but perfect, but still, you had to do something to get in front of people that yell and scream and that have vocal cords. Granted, my vocal cords are going to hell, but at least you got 11 to 12,000. They're getting decent numbers for them. So, yeah, it's temporary. There was no situation. Wait, let me finish.
Okay.
There was no situation that was going to be easy for the Athletics. I just figure that anything they got to do, as far as I'm concerned, is better than playing in front of a place where you can hear a pin drop.
The mausoleum, they used to call the Oakland Coliseum, the mausoleum. Yes. When the Athletics couldn't get any fans. Scott's exactly right. It was a different facility for football, but for baseball, yeah, it sucked.
Do you guys think it would be? Do you think it would be possible if they could have shared, let's say, San Fran Stadium?
They wanted to do that, but the Giants turned them down.
Yeah,
they didn't want no part of them.
Yeah,
the Giants couldn't get the A's out of there fast enough because then they own the entire Bay Area.
Right.
Just like it did many years ago when the Raiders left and then the 49ers own the entire Bay. Chris, I see your point. Okay, let's make sure that pizza doesn't have onions, anchovies, and the rest of all that stuff, or we don't see the cheese and the sauce on it, brother. That's what they tried to do, and they wouldn't do it.
Hey, Scott,
the Giants couldn't get them out of there fast enough.
Hey, Scott, was it the stadium that was spooky, or was it Mark Davis's haircut?
I don't know. Now I feel the Alzheimer's is coming on faster. I'd rather forget it. No, I was there. Of course, you're watching the Raiders, all those skeletons around too, so that was spooky. But it was just an interesting place. Everybody talks.
I have to ask an interesting question. We can build a stadium inside a racetrack and do it for one game, but we can't build anything for these 2 teams that are playing the whole rest of the year in these small stadiums. That doesn't make sense to me.
There you go.
Well, let me ask you a question, Kane. You're going to bring that up. Now you get a really, seriously. What
Seriously,
are you going to do? Think you're going to put the Tampa Bay Rays over at Raymond James Stadium just because the Savannah Bananas do it doesn't mean they're hitting home runs. They may be hitting home runs at the gate, but they're not doing it playing regular baseball. So that one's out of the way. You're tying the racetrack to that situation. But what the hell are you going to do in Oakland? You ever been there? You haven't been to California.
But how many years has it been a poop hole? Like, how long has it been this bad? They could have fixed
It's
it
been bad for a
20
long
years
time.
ago.
But the bottom line is the politics in that area is ridiculous, like it is in a lot of these
Yes.
places.
Exactly.
Politics. Unfortunately, I have a couple political things I'm going to talk about tonight, but not too harsh like I'm going here. So, but it's interesting. The bottom line is the A's are doing the best they can in that situation. I get it. And of course, we all know full well that, the race situation was just unfortunate because of bad weather. And
and Candy, they did play the next day there. But Candy, you brought up the racetrack. It was great when it was sunny on Sunday the next day. And when it was raining, though, they couldn't drain it. It was ridiculous. And I mean, it looked stupid. The whole thing looked like it was about to flood, like we have Noah's Ark. So it's like, I mean, that's why they don't do those type of things, is because these are just pre-made stadiums or all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's hard to be able to make it for 162.
But Jacob, Wrigley Field, they have rainouts too. Detroit, they have rainouts too. I mean, it's not like they're building a stadium that has the retractable roof. I mean, that was the smartest thing Milwaukee did. But I'm just saying, if we can find money to put a stadium inside a racetrack, there's got to be something we can do to help these teams so they're not playing in such a small stadium. And I don't know, maybe there's a mid-size or what they could do to, a different
Come
stadium.
on, Kenny. They would have had this thing 10, 15, 20 years ago. They've been dealing with this nonsense for 20 fucking years. These are in the situations that they're in because Oakland was dire straits. They had to do something. In Tampa, well, it's inevitable they're going over to Hillsborough, but I'll get into that another day. So I get it. But
doesn't Vegas have a nice, beautiful dome stadium built out there? Like maybe they could they have reconfigured the dome, to play a few games there? I don't know. No, you don't think so, right?
No, I don't think so.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah,
I understand where we're coming from. We're only talking about the fact that we know that nobody likes playing at that place. Unfortunately, you have to tough it out for 2 or 3 years, and that's about it. No, there's no easy situation. I don't know what the press situation was like. All I know is when the A's came down to Miami, the travel contingent for travel media wasn't very high, maybe 1 or 2. So that was about it. Plenty of good seats in the press box if you were attending that series. All right. Well, since Candy brought up the racetrack, we'll go to a lighter topic, okay? Unless you want to continue the racetrack thing, Candy, let me know, and I'll give you the whole show to host.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, a Japanese billionaire built a $200 million racetrack just to race his wife and kids. Isn't that nice, Jacob?
Oh, absolutely beautiful. You just hope his wife isn't Danica Patrick. So, I mean, that's the whole thing you have to hope, and then he loses all the time. Then he'll be like John Elway when he would lose a pool game and he would just sell it, just sell the whole table. You could just see him doing something like that. It's kind of crazy.
I like that. All right, Mrs. Racetrack, what do you think?
Hey, if you have that kind of money and you want to spend it on a racetrack, go right ahead. I could see a lot of better things you could do with that kind of money, but I don't have that kind of money to be able to say, oh yeah, Scott, just build me a racetrack.
Yeah, I don't care what kind of shape I'm in. I'm going to get, if I get an opportunity for an adrenaline rush like that, I'm going to do it. All right, George.
Well, yeah, they said that it was designed by a fellow that's done designing Formula One circuits, and 2.17 mile track with 22 corners, dramatic elevation changes and views of Mount Fuji and Tokyo Bay. It also includes luxury things, like pool, gymnasium, and karaoke room. Well, I mean, yeah, this is unbelievable. I have never heard of somebody doing something like that to that large extent for just being a gift. But the fact of the matter is, we all know in the back of our minds, there's going to be some racing there, and it's not just going to be playful stuff or try to please his wife. it's going to be regular circuit, whether it's Formula F1 or whether it's IndyCar. Somebody's going to try that track out. We know that. So Japan, you got a brand new facility. Now you got to work out trying to get on the circuit for having a major race there once or twice. Yeah, it's funny though. It's funny that man would spend all that money and give that as a gift. Wow.
Yeah, come on. Just for a wife and kids. Really? Seriously? Really? What do you got around your house?
Oh,
Not that,
too
right?
much
Like,
money. I wouldn't spend that money.
That's okay. Yeah, you spend somebody else's money. That's all right. Everybody does it. Don't feel too bad, George. There's plenty of other moments I could get you embarrassed of, but not that one. That's a lot of $200 million just to raise your wife and kids is one big, expensive adrenaline rush. But yeah, you might be right. Maybe he'll find a way to go ahead and get a race, let alone the fact that it's a Japanese guy. All right, Chris. I mean, the only racetrack I don't know about is on Friday night against Savino, at least in the next 48 hours.
That's going to be great. But you know what? I mean, all these, it's disgusting what these rich people do, right? They build a racetrack when, you know what? They could be donating that to help people. And there's tons of homeless
They
people.
might still do that.
Yeah, but come on.
Right,
This is a
exactly.
Japanese. Wait a minute. Wait. This is a Japanese billionaire. Forget about that. This is a Japanese billionaire that wants to have a toy with his family. Family.
I guess I gotta respect him for that. But on the other side, yeah, he might be still doing that. But yeah, instead of building $100 million racetrack or whatever the hell he paid to build it, you know what? He could have helped them. I'm sure there's a lot of needy people in Japan too, not just here, but I'm sure there's a lot of needy people there. Like if I was the Amazon guy, you know, what's his name? I'd be building homeless people houses for people, you know.
And he does.
But come on, it's only $200 million. He's a billionaire. Get $200 million. That's only to me. That's only like
why not?
in his pen.
Exactly.
That's all it
$200
is.
million. Think about that. $200 million to go play on to go. Hey, go race your car, honey. You're good. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
go race. I want to race against my wife and my kids. You don't get any better than that. Oh my
Bring
goodness.
it on, Scott. Bring it on. Let's go.
Bring it on, dude.
There you go.
Chris, they give a lot of money to charity still. They just have a lot.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Come on, $200 million for a little toy like that. That's not a big deal. Against a wife and the kids.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously, really?
Seriously,
David Wrestlers don't have anything like that. Never mind.
What are you asking
I
me
got
for a
a-
racetrack for?
Yeah, well, $200 million, if it buys you that kind of entertainment, boy, the Japanese guy has one interesting taste for entertainment, and it's worth $200 million just to go ahead and race your wife and your kids.
Hey,
My
I went to a
goodness.
racetrack for a gas today.
Did ya?
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, well, let's go on to some other things. I thought this was a good one to lighten it up since Candy wants to put racetracks inside of other things and then try to fix a couple situations with two teams that are dormant or moving to different parts of where they're at. But then
They could put a baseball stadium in Daytona. There's plenty of room there. Right?
No, don't get me going there.
Oh,
Don't,
It's
All
bigger
right.
than it's
Okay,
bigger
so-
than Bristol. Right?
okay. Oh, you're
Much
talking
bigger
about the track. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about track.
You could put a stadium
Yeah,
right in the
well-
middle of Daytona.
No, don't get me
Right in the
started.
infield.
No,
Come on,
I know what
come
they
on.
could do. I've been to that track enough times. All right.
I've been to
Yeah, cool.
Daytona a couple times.
Yeah, me too. Okay. I'm with you. All right, let's keep going. Otherwise, we'll all come up with some crazier ideas for a show that already filled with plenty. And you haven't even heard the rest of them yet. You only heard just a few of them. And Candy's not anywhere near that station break. Let's go to a pundit. And Jacob, why don't you center it around Jabari Parker's story that you were talking about? Unless you had a different one.
Well, you know, I would do the Jabari Parker tonight. I sent something over to Scott earlier today. I talked about Jabari Parker. He did 4 years in the NBA, and he decided I'm gonna go to Europe. He didn't go because he couldn't get a job. He went because he still could have gotten a job in the NBA. He did it because he wanted to be more competitive. He was finding out as he was going through the teams, he was going through the league and stuff, that only like about 12 teams truly want to compete. And everybody else is trying to get, everybody else in the whole thing is trying to get that draft pick, that lottery. They're trying to hopefully get that one, you know what I'm saying? That one, you know, that number one in that little thing in the balls, the lottery things. And it's like, and I'm with him on something like this. It's like he knows if he goes to Spain, and he's in Barcelona right now, that everybody in the league is going to try to compete. And see, this is the thing about a lot of these athletes. A lot of these athletes won high school titles, high school championships. They were in the NCAA tournament. They're all going for winning. Now he's going into the NBA, and he's finding out that 12 teams wanted to go, and the other 18 are going for those balls. And it reminds me of George Karl in his first season in Cleveland. Started 2-18, and he got to the playoffs against Boston.
Right.
He actually got a win against them. After all that stuff, he wanted to compete no matter what, and he got the most impossible thing from 2-18, got a playoff. We don't see that anymore. If this was the ownership would tell him to stop, or they would probably fire him for trying. And it's coming back to me now that it is like, for instance, the Bulls are around the same at all times. Certain teams are around the same at all times. You got to realize this is a two-time champion, college champion with Billy Donovan, and he's also been to a finals in the NBA. Why is he constantly about 39 and 43 every year? They're not giving him help. It's obvious that Chicago's trying to be that way. There's probably more teams trying to be that way. It's why they don't get a Mike. Now it's coming back to me is why they don't get a Mike Malone. Why they don't a lot of these teams don't get these ones that are right in the open to win, because they'll probably tell them if you lose your first five, if you go 5-5, we want you to quit for the year. And it's like, that's got to stop. It's like, what is really by itself? It's one case if you would automatically get the number one, but it's another if you're one of 16 or one of 12 for the balls for the lottery. It's like you're not guaranteed even if you get the worst team. Michael Jordan had the worst team in the history of the league with the Bobcats, and he still didn't get number one.
Yeah, that's true.
And he could have had Anthony Davis. So why tank? Why tank? That's what I'm saying every single time. Why tank if you're not guaranteed number one? Not that I'd want to anyway, but there's where my point is.
Okay. All right, Kane, do you want to address this with Jabari Parker?
He used to play in the NBA. I remember that. If he thought he could take his talent someplace else, more power to him. But obviously, it's not working out for him. So, they always say the grass is greener. Well, sometimes the grass isn't always greener.
Yeah. All right, you know what? We're going to leave this as a standalone pundit topic if you want to, Jacob, for the night. Unless you have something else you want to add later on your pundit segment.
Well, we'll see with that. Yeah, we'll find out. I'm done right now.
Oh, that's fine. All right, let's
big problem. Can I just add a little thing with this? I think the big problem with the NBA is it's like if you don't have a superstar on your team, you have no shot anymore. That's what kind of league it's become. It's not like it was back in the 80s and 90s when the NBA was fun, right? It's not like that anymore. You need a superstar player now. It is what it is. So if you don't have that superstar player, maybe the team is like, all right, hey, if we could get a better shot at getting that lottery pick, that first overall pick, and get the whoever the kid is, let's do it. So I can understand what he's saying, Parker, but that's unfortunately what the NBA is about now.
I'll accept that as a last word on this topic. No problem. All right, let's talk about Derek Jeter. Was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame with 99.75% of the votes, nearly unanimous. I cannot believe he didn't get 100%. Mr. Yankee, what do you think?
You know what? It's ridiculous that he didn't get 100%. But again, it's one guy or woman, whoever that person was, that had to be out there and be that person that didn't vote for him, that didn't go on, that didn't make him, unanimous. Now, he shouldn't be the only one that should be unanimous. Obviously, Mariano Rivera, but all the players before that got in, a lot of them should have been 100%, right? We could go down the list up and down. We don't have to name every guy, but it's ridiculous that, these voters have, have this thing where, nobody should be 100%. If Babe Ruth wasn't, then this person shouldn't. It's kind of ridiculous that it's gone on for how many years now? This is like 100 years that we're talking about that. It's the same line. Oh, if Babe Ruth wasn't 100%, then, this guy shouldn't, Pujols shouldn't, this guy should. It makes no sense to me. I think it's stupid. If you want to vote a guy 100%, do it. It should be done.
Excellent point, Chris. That's what I wanted you to start off. All right, George.
Well, we don't know what happened between him and that one reporter, that one writer. Unfortunately, they're human, and they unfortunately, human.
Fortunately, they're human. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was hoping they were alien.
Maybe he's an alien. That guy. That one.
Unfortunately, there's a story behind that which we may never know, but there could have been a run-in in the clubhouse. There could have been something happen emotionally between those two people, Jeter and the writer. We don't know, but it's still a dumb excuse. Yeah, I'm not going to vote for you then, the way you didn't answer my question or some stupid thing like that. No, I agree. He should have been 100%, but so many other ones are not 100% either. And the fact of the matter is he's rightfully in that Hall of Fame. He got in the first year of eligibility overwhelmingly, but there always is one crackerjack or crackpot, whatever you want to call him, that has a grudge to bear, and it's unfortunate. But it's been going on for ballot after ballot, year after year.
All right, Candy.
So we don't know who voted what way. Like George said, could there have been a beef? But here's my thing. Even if you had a beef or a run-in with Derek Jeter, when you're voting, are you voting on your relationship with Derek Jeter, or are you voting on his credentials to get into the Hall of Fame? And see, I think sometimes we misjudge or we misguide our feelings and project them into some of our voting. If you're going to vote, you're voting for someone to get into a Hall of Fame because of the work they did on the field, not the relationship they had with you or with somebody else. The only exception, I guess I would say, is that if they had a relationship with a drug or a performance enhancing drug or something like that, that's a little different. But
don't open up another can of worms.
Yeah.
We're going to open it.
I'm going to open all kinds.
We're not actually.
Let's go. Let's go.
She's the one that's
Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of
she's the
Fame.
one that she's the one that's to deal with these at the end. And if I run into time issues, it'll be because she opened up new cans of worms. Remember that.
Because I opened new cans or because you had too many topics. Let's not get there. But no, that's what I mean. What I'm saying is, when you're voting on something like this, you have to take it serious, and it's about their play on the field, not about your relationship or whatever happened between you two. So,
but it happens. Let me tell you, the writers don't care. They can stick it to you. They will. All right, go ahead, Jacob.
It reminds me of the new King of the Hill when he took his first Uber and he goes, "I'm going to give you a 4. I think you need to earn a 5. You need to earn 5. What's this 2?" And that's what that reminds me of. It's like it's all politics.
Yeah,
it's all politics. Every ounce of this. It's like, oh, I don't like. It's like, you know something. That's been our. I mean, we're not going to open this part of the can of worms. I'm just going to say it this way. It's been 20 years of our own politics we see on the news. It's like, if you don't like me, I'm not going to give you this, or I'm not going to get this stuff. It's like, it didn't start with now. I promise you that. It's just a little louder about it. But it's like, but if we see it on the news, like in Washington, D.C., we're going to see it here. We're going to see somebody that didn't. We're going to see somebody, he insulted. Yeah, remember the whole thing with the Yankees. There was a beef with the Yankees. I'm not even saying about a Hall of Fame thing. That started a thing that said if it would go to the Yankees, he'd retire. It's called Ken Griffey Jr. All because Billy Martin didn't want him running around in the on the field. And it's like, and there's just little things that always happen and you don't know the story. It's stupid, and it's like what happened with Ichiro too. That was 99.
All right, well, there. Now you're leading to my territory. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you did that. So now I'm going to go ahead and take over. You're handing me the rock to finish this topic, and then we're going to international.
Just don't trip when you're taking the baton.
Oh God, I don't need that. I got enough medical problems.
No, Scott's the best one to answer this question. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, all right. Well, here, you know what? There should be 300%. You have Derek Jeter and Ichiro Suzuki. Thank you very much. And I'm leaving it at that. Ichiro Suzuki should have gotten that 100%. And even, but the person didn't want to show his face when he had a chance to have dinner at his house. And Derek Jeter should have gotten his. For all I know, it could have been a Red Sox writer that said no because they hate each other. And I'm leaving it at that.
Make the
But I'll
ballots public. There you go.
Yeah, but that'll never happen either. Nobody wants to show
No.
their face. They just don't. I see your
Right.
point. It just won't happen. But
Yeah.
I will say this. I am going to talk about international travel, one of my newest toys, and I'm going to put things in perspective really quickly, okay? That we're in London on the first half of our trip. And get this, the U.S. strikes 3 Iranian nuclear sites, and President Trump says jointly joining Israel's effort to decimate the country's nuclear program. This on that front, and things have been quiet on that front ever since. Why am I even bringing this up on a sports show? I'll tell you what. Before I took this trip overseas, it's one thing to sit in our own little confines of America thinking everything is safe. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in London and all this business taken care of internationally, and then you're wondering what world reaction is going to be. And if that doesn't put international perspective into travel or international, I don't know what is. What do you think?
You know, and well, the big thing is, I can say this part for you. It would be a little bit skittish for somebody to go across the world on something like this, because for something along those lines right now, especially when the world is so small now,
Right.
everybody, this isn't just like, oh, Brits or Irishmen or anything like that. You got people from Iran, you got people from Iraq, you got people from Pakistan, you got people from all over the world, and you get it bombed and everything. All of a sudden, you meet somebody that's from those areas. So
Right.
now, and guess what? You're American. So now it's one of those things. It's like, and they can tell it really fast. So I can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is this. I mean, we're all the way out in London, and I can't say it enough. And all of a sudden, this thing takes place where he's striking the nuclear sites. Of course, they retaliated, and he's joining Israel's efforts to decimate Iran. I'm not going to take a position on it, but all I'm just saying is, it's just when you're here in the United States, you're used to seeing it. Then you go over to these, all of a sudden, you think a little bit differently because you're across the pond. Okay. Let's continue on to Major League Baseball. That's all I'm saying about it. I'm not getting political, but you know, when you have your first trip overseas tonight, I'm not going to tell you, make your own kind of music. All I was giving you was an international perspective on travel without the chopsticks, by the way. All right, Major League Baseball. Okay. Jose Alvarado has officially been reinstated from the restricted list. Nolan Hoffman was optioned. Alvarado is not eligible for the postseason. Basically, all this is a trade deadline move. Your thoughts, Chris?
Listen, for the Phillies, I think this is great to add another big time arm to the bullpen. I know he's not going to be eligible for the playoffs, but you know what? These next 30 something games, like this is going to be big for Alvarado too, right? To kind of show that, listen, I messed up, but I can make up for it, at least in these games for you, and kind of rest maybe some of the other guys if I could take up some of these innings, right? I think it's huge for the Phillies. It gives them a huge boost down the stretch here on these last 30 games. You know, and Robinson is pitching well too since he joined them. Yeah, this is huge for the Phillies, especially after the bad news with Wheeler. I mean, right? Wheeler's probably going to be out. That was a humongous blow, and that's going to be their big blow going into the playoffs, losing Wheeler. But listen, Alvarado, getting him for these last 30 games, that's a huge boost for them, for their bullpen.
George?
Yeah, I agree. It is a huge boost. What is he, 30 years old? His career stats are 19 wins, 26 losses, but a really good ERA, 3.39, and his major league career, 52 saves. Yeah, the Phillies, I mean, they're going all in. We know that. Dave Dombrowski and company, they're going all in. They want to win it. This is the year for them, they feel. And obviously, every step along the way is important to them to take. They're loaded with offense. We already know that. They got a killer lineup, and the pitching staff is always the one that sometimes has let them down. So I think Alvarado, like you said, he may not be eligible for postseason, but hell, he's going to do his best job to try to get them there. I really think that he still has some good baseball left, and I really think it's a positive for the Phillies, Scott.
Candy?
Alvarado allowed no runs in 5 rehab appearances with Lehigh Valley and allowed 4 hits, struck out 4 batters, and issued 4 walks across 5 innings. To make room, they've optioned Nolan Hoffman to Lehigh Valley. You know, you feel bad because they say he took a weight loss drug and didn't know that part of that in that drug was a banned substance. Whether he knew or didn't know, I mean, the team should know, and the team should have already instructed him. Is it a boost for Philly? Of course it is. But they also have to be careful because, yes, you want to rest some of your players, but you don't want to rest them too much because they're used to going all these games, and they need to, if they're in a groove, you need to keep them in a groove, and you need to keep them going and their arms hot and stuff like that. So while, yes, it is definitely a boost because who doesn't need another arm or couldn't use another arm, especially a good arm?
Jacob?
Well, you know something, the big thing about it is this is the time to do it now if they're going to do something like this, because really by itself, as far as hitting, Dodgers kind of stopped hitting. Cubs kind of stopped hitting. But the pitching's kind of helping. You're kind of like 14-10 in your last 24. Mets have stopped hitting. These are teams that are struggling. Philly sort of, but they're 6.5 ahead. This is the time now to take advantage when there's so many of the teams, whether in wild card or leader in the divisions, to go take it and go run away with it and be a chance for a World Series. Because an unusual amount of top teams are struggling with their hitting, or struggling with pitching, depending on it's just not both. Because if that's the case, you've got the Rockies. But the big thing about this is somebody is going to make a run in September. I'm not going to say multiple because there's too many struggling teams. So the Phillies are going to give this a shot, even if Alvarado can't make it through. But with all these teams on it, you might as well take a chance right now.
I agree. What do you got to? Number one, he's available. He's fresh. He was out 80 games, right? So essentially, you have a fresh arm. So I look at it. That's why I mentioned it in the context I did. It's like a trade deadline move. Yes, Zach Wheeler's out, and they've had a myriad of other pitchers. I think their closer came back after a potentially serious injury. But the reality of the situation is hey, you got a live arm, you might as well ride with it. Since I was on the travel theme, I'm going to go back to it again today. The Chargers will travel around the globe this season and another 13 miles beyond. The Chargers' total travel miles, get this, 37,086. The Earth's circumference is 24,901. Jacob, how about some frequent flyer miles for those LA Chargers?
Yeah, you know what that means. Last year they didn't have a whole lot of them. It means where they were going. It means that they're in a certain specific divisions right now. So that's going to happen with, you know what that happens with that. That's going to happen with Las Vegas eventually too. And it's going to happen with those also. It's like you get those miles. You got to face those places eventually. But you got to face those ones. You got to go to Chicago. You got to go to Minnesota. You got to go to all those places. But like next year alone, they're probably going to be closer. So they'll just take it through this year. Main thing about it, win those games because that helps if you make the playoffs. You're plenty traveled.
I think the Chargers are traveling across the pond, or was it
Brazil?
Brazil, yeah, they're going to Brazil, so that'll factor in a little bit with those miles, but they're still traveling a long way. But that said, it'll turn over to Candy.
Well, yeah, the Chargers 37,086 miles. The second place is the Rams, LA Rams, both West Coast teams. The third one is Seattle. Oh yeah, another West Coast team. The only one, and then the fourth one is not a West Coast team. The fifth one is the 49ers, another West Coast team. And the one that's the fourth, that's an East Coast team, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, because they travel multiple times to go overseas. I thought what was also interesting, all the teams' total travel will be 947 miles across all of the teams this year. Now, the difference. So the Chargers are traveling 37,086 miles. The least is the Cincinnati Bengals traveling 8,753 miles.
And that's just going to their stadium.
Yeah, so it seems right. I'll wait for that one. That was good, Jacob. I like it. All right, George.
Well, we know who's there. We know who's there. Michigan's own Jim Harbaugh. But that is a very difficult schedule. I mean, they've got primetime games galore. You mentioned already about the trip to Brazil. And Jim, in his days at Michigan, used to take the team overseas, but that was different. That was a 2-3 week trip. This is very intense and a very grueling schedule. And that's very astute, Miss Candy, about 4 out of those top 5 being, West Coast teams, plus, as you mentioned, Jacksonville. I don't know what's going on, and I know that the league says these are great, international games are great and all that, but the toll it's taking on some of the players and some of the franchises, that you can't just overlook that. You can't. But I know they want money, they want more exposure, they're getting that, but at what price? At what price? We'll see.
Boy, you're setting yourself up for a whipping after I get done with Chris. I'm gonna nail you now. I gotta get ready.
Here we go.
You're really gonna get roasted.
I'll set him up too.
He's
Listen,
really dead.
I'm with George, but you know what? At the end of the day, the NFL doesn't care about the players. They always talk about player safety. They're worried about player safety. They got the nicer helmets now. They're thicker with the cushions and all that. They don't care because they know that the next guy is coming next year and the year after that. So they don't care about player safety in that sense. They only care about the money, right? The NFL is a monster. It's just going to keep on. It just keeps rolling with all the money. So now they're going to other countries. You know what? Seattle's always going to travel the most because they're in Seattle. That's fine. But you know what? Yeah, these other cities and like the Chargers. Listen, the Chargers were coming in this season as one of the favorites to get to the Super Bowl, right? So now they got the toughest road to get there, and then you got, like you mentioned, Cincinnati's got the least amount of miles to travel. I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. They don't have the defense, but you know what? It's nice to only travel 8,000 miles, total for a whole season for 17 games. That's pretty good. So, but yeah, the NFL doesn't care. They're just looking to expand and roll out. Eventually, we're going to see a team in Europe, right? Probably in England. I mean, that's coming. Probably Jacksonville is going to go out there. It is what it is. But
okay. All right. Here's what it is. Eichhorn's about to get roasted. You banana sick the molehead. You're worried about 17 games. They're about ready to add 18. You know what's going to end up happening? Sick the man. There's going to be more international games. Everybody's going to have to get involved with that international hay at some point. You have to give up a home game and a road game. So that's how they're getting that extra money. I realize that you have some of those. You don't have the piano anymore, but once upon a time when you had one, okay, this is where all that money's going into. This to me is the appetizer leading to the main course. When they get that 18-game schedule and the players are getting that extra money, that's what you're really talking about here. If you think that this mileage number of 37,000 was high, until they ask for more, then you're in the 40,000 mark with some of these teams. This is just this is a prelude to what's about to happen, is all it is. It just so happens the Chargers are out in LA and they're going to get hooked a little more. But wait till game number 18 hits. And every team has to give up a home game and a road game. And then we'll see where you'll talk about fireworks. You're going to get them. Right now, I'm going to give this over to a station break, Candy, and then we can proceed from there. A lot more good things to get to after she gets done, giving my voice a little breather.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morgenroth. And George Eichhorn wrote the foreword. So we have both the gentlemen that wrote the book on our panel tonight. We are honored. Awesome, guys. Talks about Scott's 40 plus years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. Old school media meets new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Candy. Well, last night, this was a hot topic. with Inside the Pigskin. I'm going to bring it back for everybody else to get a crack at it as well. It's part of the title of the show. NBA legend Pat Riley defines culture. Pat Riley defines culture this way, people. Don't ever come into my office and tell me to fire a coach. Your job is to play basketball. That's culture. All right. Chris, what do you think about Pat Riley's version of culture?
Listen, Pat Riley's one of the greatest coaches in NBA history, right? With the Lakers, and then with the Heat. So yeah, he's all about. I mean, when you think about '80s NBA and early '90s, he's one of the first guys you think of outside of the players, right? Pat Riley, without a doubt. You know, before the Bulls started their run, it was the Lakers and the Celtics. So yeah, definitely.
George.
Oh yeah, I mean he's just been a tremendous coach. He's been a tremendous front office executive. I was trying to say. I agree with Pat. You know, Pat's got his opinions, but that I'm not going to argue with him about that culture thing. And you know, it's really interesting to see because he's just one of those guys that just has so much respect for the game and so much respect for the history of the game as well. So I've always been a Pat Riley fan, and I'm not going to counter him on this one. I think it is. And don't forget our friend Chuck Daly too, Chris, when you start spewing off names. And of course, Phil Jackson as well. So yeah. I put those three right at the top during that era as head coaches. And there's others too. But anyways, I like Riley. I like it. He's talking good stuff.
Candy.
Every person has a title. And there you have a title for a reason. You have a job to do. You were hired to do a specific job. If your job is manager, you're supposed to manage. If your job is to coach, it's to coach. If you're a GM, you're a GM. If you're a player, be a player. Don't be the GM. Don't be anything else. Now, can you give your opinion? Well, maybe if it's asked for, or maybe if you're respected enough and you're at a certain level, you can give your opinion privately to somebody, but not publicly. There's a reason, again, you're a player. There's a reason you're a GM, and there's a reason you're a coach. Keep to those. That's how I feel. Keep to your job title.
Jacob?
Well, one thing I liked about him is he set that up because LaBrenda decided he wanted to whine whether he wanted fired. And it was, and you know who he wanted fired? It was Spoelstra. And he stood up to LeBron on that, or LaBrenda, as I just said, and he called him out on it and did that, and that's true. The thing is, I'm going to listen to a guy with 11 rings, whether it's coaching, whether it's coaching, whether it's president, whether it's ownership, whether it's anything. I am going to listen to him. He is one, and he's probably the coolest old man we're going to know. If you saw the classic cars that he has and the condo he has, he's just the coolest guy in Miami. So there's the whole thing right there. I'm going to definitely listen to him on these things. But remember this part. Even their struggling years, they're like 44 and 38. That's their struggling years. Those are the ones that are like, okay, they're in a play-in game. If that's your idea of struggling and then they just come back the next year and get number 3, then that's just another thing. That's his culture. They're constantly around. A lot of teams can't say that.
Okay. Hey, by the way, Yarcher, just so you know, I have met Jerry Jones many years ago out in Arizona. Pretty cool guy. So I have no problem. He's definitely well respected. Thanks for the comment. Very much appreciated. As far as we're concerned here, Pat Riley's 100% accurate. He really, really, really is. Don't ever question him. He's got a lot of championships, and he's done a marvelous job making sure the Miami Heat have an excellent culture there. And, of course, he didn't do bad work with the Knickerbockers as well as the Lakers as well. But what he's done in Miami as a general manager and his entire body of work with the Heat, nobody's going to question. Pat Riley, as far as I'm concerned, you're gold. Back to Yardstick Long. Kerry, what good way to get you some publicity? Don't Miami make history as the first 10 seed to make the playoffs? I don't know. I don't think they made the playoffs last year. Or wait, you're talking about the Miami Heat. I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Good point. Well, there you go. That validates what I just talked about. Thanks, Yard. You got me a little confused a little bit. Great points by this guy. Keep it up. Appreciate you, Yardstock. You're on YouTube. Hopefully, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Much appreciated. I'm going to go to our non-sports topic of the night. This one should be right up George Eichhorn's alley. Oh, I had his name written all over this one. Yeah, not the one in your house, George. But Robert Prevost, an American missionary who spent his career ministering, and I repeat, ministering in Peru, and leads the Vatican powerful choice of bishops, was elected the first American pope in the 2,000-year history of the Catholic Church. Prevost, 69, took the name Pope Leo XIV. I don't know what pope number that is, but he was selected by 133 cardinals across the globe. As everybody can tell, I'm not big on Roman numerals. Oh, why not have
14.
an American pope?
14.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, thanks.
Leo
Yeah,
14, yeah.
I was never big on Roman numerals. But Icor, what do you think? We have an American pope in office. That's why I brought you on here, Icor. I had to make sure we had at least this topic. It doesn't happen only once in a while on the Sports Exchange. We're talking about American pope. Isn't he from Chicago? I think he was for the White Sox too, doesn't he?
He is a huge White Sox fan. Praise the Lord. Yes. As the first time an American got the call to be pope, and as another side, and Scott knows where this is. We have a city in Detroit called Grosse Pointe. It's several cities, very rich area, and he was actually ordained at a church in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. The Pope doesn't have a lot of ties to Detroit itself. Most of them all to Chicago, but he did receive one of his ordinations in St. Clair Montefalco in Grosse Pointe. Yeah, I'm very happy about him. He's very down to earth. He seems very well liked, and certainly he's a big baseball fan. We know that so far so good. That's what I say.
Well, I'm glad we got an American pope. Just because I'm not really Catholic doesn't mean you can't be happy that an American is going to be out in Rome. By the time I get there next year visiting the Vatican, at least you'll have a motor mouth inside. Well, you can only imagine what kind of a video I'm going to put up there. All right. By the way, Yardstock Lawn Care, you can't discredit. Pat has done all teams. I'll never discredit that he's been a part of. He's been a legend of the game. You know, Yardstock, let me give you something to remember. GMTA, great minds think alike. We'll leave it at that. Okay. So, Pope Chris, what do you think about the selection in the Vatican?
You know, I'm not a big Pope person, but you know what? He's from America, so hopefully he's a good choice. I think outside of America, right? I think outside of America and in all around the world may not have been the most popular choice, because of what's going on with our country right now. So, but you know what? Hey, best of luck to him. God bless him. Obviously, he is blessed by God for being a pope, but good luck to him. Right? Hey, there you go. Well, hey, good luck to him, and hopefully he does a great job.
I'll tell you, Chris, there's a reason why you're a permanent member on this panel here, because you come up with some good liners, man. I love going on his show, man. This guy has come a long way, and he's only been around. I had a guy get this on Twitter who was trying to collaborate with him, and he respectfully declined us. And I'm looking at his stuff in the direct message at 434 followers, and he's following 2,700 and some. You know what? After looking at you, I respectfully declined you and blocked him. And that just goes to show you're following 2,700 some odd people. You only have 434. Give me a break. Pope.
Seriously? Really?
Let me tell you. Yeah, Pope, Provost, whatever your name is. Yeah, this guy needs a few prayers on Twitter, man. This guy's in deep trouble. All right, Candy, go ahead. I knew I would take this to a different level. Yeah, look at her.
You always do. No, I mean, I'm happy for him. I mean, it's kind of nice and refreshing to see someone from the United States, albeit Chicago, but no, seriously, like for someone from the United States to get voted in, let's face it, he didn't just go in, he got voted in. So by his peers, by people that know him and know others, voted for him. So whether some people like it or not, he got voted in, and I hope he does a great job.
Yes, 133 Cardinals voted him in. The American Pope, I guess it's 14, I guess. Now that Jacob corrected me on the Roman numeral.
And 133 Cardinals and 2 Cubs. But still,
when you have 5 people on this show, you're definitely here to shine. Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
That was
but
good.
no, but he's a White Sox fan. He's also a Bears fan, so maybe he'll pray and it'll be Tyson Bagent as the starting quarterback week 1. Other than that, I mean, it's just.
I was waiting for that Tyson Bagent, and I knew I was going to get it from you. Unbelievable.
But
I love
still,
this topic.
I want to win. I want to win. What can I say?
Yeah, well, yeah, join the club. We have a few teams out there that are struggling right now back in Motown, but I'm not going to get to that. But more power to you. But I was waiting for that Tyler Pagent reference, and thanks to Mr. Christner, we can do it.
Tyson.
Well,
but yeah.
Yeah, all right, whatever. I'll look it up later. Since I have another hashtag I have to look up, I have to make sure I write it around. Right, otherwise Candy's going to call me back when I'm chilling. Okay, well, let's stay on the sports team, but this is much different. Go out there and get him, Pope. More power than American got out there. And I'm looking forward. I'm already planning my next trip overseas. And let me tell you, I'm looking forward to it. Then I plan to do the work on my own. I don't need a travel agent the next time. So get this. Now, Dick's Sporting Goods is nearing a deal to buy Foot Locker for $2.3 billion. The agreement values, it looks like it values a Foot Claimer at $24 per share, 86.5% premium of its recent closing price. Let's just show you what a money guy I am. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Jacob, about the fact that Dick's Sporting Goods and Foot Locker are about to become one?
Well, you know something? This is exactly the Foot Locker just completely did a redesign a couple months ago, which is a lot more efficient, a lot more cool, especially during like Black Fridays and Christmases and everything. And it's a lot better. And they tore out their little basketball area with all the basketball shoes. They did all that stuff, but it's too late. If Dick's is buying it, it's too late. They should have done it a couple of years earlier. They kind of stuck to the same thing over and over, and they did that type of deal. It's been they gave this they gave it the old good try, but Foot Locker's kind of been the 80s mall staple.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those deals like Dick's has just dominated the world now as far. Dick's and you can say maybe one or two others. There's a couple of minor ones that do, but mostly Dick's Sporting Goods. And as a Foot Locker, they tried, but you can't get. Sometimes you can't get past the 80s. That little reputation. They all that kind of stuff. So Dick's Sporting Goods is going to become the ESPN of the sporting good world.
Candy?
The transaction implies an equity value of approximately $2.4 billion and an enterprise value of approximately $2.5 billion. Man, these are two pretty big houses. I mean, we've seen some of the stores that we would normally go by the wayside. Where like Payless Shoes is no longer in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
You see other shoes or retail outlets that are no longer in the U.S. because so much is going online. I think you're going to see more of these big companies, in order to survive, have to merge with others and kind of expand what they're doing. Or I hate to say it, they're going to be lost because the Amazons of the world are not going away.
George?
Yeah, I think something like this was inevitable. I mean, there's a lot of this that happens in a lot of industries, not just the sports apparel industry or sports shoe industry. It didn't come as a total surprise to me. They are number one, Dick's. They've been that way for a while in their niche, and then obviously Foot Locker. And I'm glad you brought that up, Jacob, about the stores were in the malls, and now so many malls are just being destroyed, or tear down. I think that it'll be successful, but yeah, it is the big guy kind of taking over the guy that's in the middle of the pack, and it happens a lot in American business. It really does, whatever industry it is. But this is huge. The Dick's Sporting Goods made a smart move, I think, here. I really do.
Chris?
Yeah. It's coming down to a lot of the smaller stores that were big in the malls. Since all the malls are closing up, they're closing up now too. So I think Foot Locker did a great deal. in getting as much as they're getting, right, from Dick's. And to be honest, a lot of the places like Dick's as well is going to go away because everybody does shopping online now. Like, why go to Dick's when I could just go online? I know what sneakers, I know what my size is. I'll just go to Nike.com or Reebok or whatever stores online, Amazon, and get my stuff there, and I think most people now are doing that, right? They're skipping going to the store. First of all, there's hardly any more malls, right? How many malls have closed? Probably by you guys and by me as well. So it's not a thing anymore. Everything is online. So hopefully Dick's, and I'm sure they do, like they have a really good website. That's where they're going to do most of their business. So, it's just a sign of the times. What I want to know is what's next? Like, what's the next big thing?
Walmart's going to absorb Target.
Well, I'll tell you what. Come back to the Sports Exchange next week, what you will, and I'll tell you what the next big thing is.
Yeah.
All right? Because I'll come up with it. Don't worry. Okay, don't worry.
Yes,
now,
I want to know what's next because I want to know where I can invest.
Well, come at 9 o'clock
Walmart's
Eastern
gonna
time, and
absorb
I'll
Target.
tell you what the next big thing is, other than what's going to happen Friday night on your network. All right, here's how I'm going to solve my problem with the shoe. Howie Long, you represent the right company, and that company happens to be about 2 miles away from us, called Skechers. And I'll tell you, those shoes are comfortable for my finicky feet, considering every place I go to seek trouble and content. So I love my Skechers, but I still think it's a great move for Foot Locker to be bought out by Dick's Sporting Goods. All right, well, something different. Now we're going to go ahead and talk some quarterbacks, and we're going to New York. So I'm going to make it an easy one as we transition to the next one. We're going to the New York Giants. Who will start? Don't need any long, major, drawn-out answers. Who will start? Is it Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, or Tommy DeVito? All right, we'll go to Mr. New York, who's laughing at me. Go on.
Listen, it ain't going to be Tommy DeVito, that's for sure. And it's not going to be Winston. Winston's probably going to get traded. I think it's going to be Russell Wilson. He's going to start the season. I don't think he's going to finish the season. I think we're going to see Dart at some point. It's just a matter of time. As good as he's looked so far in the offseason and in the preseason. I know it's only preseason, but I think Russell Wilson starts. And by the end of the season, I think Jackson Dart will be the starter for the Giants.
Okay, George?
Well, I kind of agree with what you said, Chris. I mean, Wilson, I think, is the smart choice right now. Obviously, he's hopeful that he's got some good football left in him. And I don't know. Yeah, well, he could be. It could be changed later in the season, like you said, to Dart. But I've always liked Russell Wilson. The fact of the matter is he just still can't win the big one. I mean, consistently, and he's bounced around so many teams the last couple of years. But I'm going to go with Wilson. Wilson's my number one for now. Maybe Dart later on.
Candy?
Wilson starts. It's his job to lose. And I'll leave it at that.
Jacob?
I think Dart, believe it or not, starts. I think Wilson's the one that gets traded because because you were talking about this with Jameis. I think he's perfect for New York for the media world. So you can get something along those lines. I think what we're going to see eventually, though, is I think we're going to see Tommy DeVito start one game against Ben DiNucci, and the winner basically gets the whole mob, gets the mob family. So we're going to see something like that. So either way, but really by itself, I think Wilson's the one that gets traded. I just do.
Yeah, it's amazing how you say that because I was surprised that they signed Russell Wilson. I thought Jameis Winston was going to be your starter at the beginning, and he would be the bridge quarterback for who they drafted Dart. So goes to show you, I would like to say Winston, but it's inevitable if Wilson starts, and I guess it's just a matter of how many games into this thing are you going to be in before Dart finally takes over. We'll stay on the quarterback thing. We're going to the Cleveland Browns depth chart. I had some fun with this one last night, though, when we talked about the Cleveland Browns getting fleeced by Deshaun Watson. But now I've decided to graduate and just list the four in the order with the existing ones. Got Joe Flacco, number one, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. So the big question to this panel is, will the Browns carry four quarterbacks? Jacob, you lead off.
Yes. Yeah, they have to make up for no real kicker, which I'm almost expecting Justin Tucker to be there, so he and Deshaun
God.
Watson, so that he and Deshaun Watson can have a reality show together.
Oh, that's funny. That's bad. That is
I'm just
bad.
expecting it at this
That's
point.
bad. That is bad.
That is bad. All right. Well, since you agree it's bad, Chris, why do you say it's bad? I think it's funny. That's what Christner brings to the show. That's why it says that.
Yeah, no, the Justin Tucker thing was bad. And their quarterback situation is probably just as bad. Yeah, Flacco's going to start, obviously. But after that, I think it really depends on who they believe in more, Gabriel or Sanders, right? I'm really not sure because the Browns are a complete mess. One of them's got to get moved. There's no way they're keeping 4 quarterbacks. I mean, even the Browns are not going to do that, right? So I would think one of the rookies are going to. I know it's the Browns, right? Yeah, I would think one of the rookies are going to stay. Listen, they traded for Pickens, right?
Yes.
Right. They traded for him before they signed Flacco and before they drafted those 2 kids. So they obviously liked him more than anybody. So I think as long as he's healthy, which he's not right now, he's going to be on the team. So it's probably going to be him and Flacco and one of the young kids, right? Whether it's Gabriel or Sanders. I would, it's either way, it's not good.
George.
Well, they're continuing their futility. I think the Cleveland Browns. You can't have all 4, no question about it. And I agree that Flacco's going to be starting, but I like Kenny Pickett. I really do. I mean, he's had some struggles, obviously. 15-10 career, wins and losses. We all know things didn't work out in Pittsburgh and then in Philadelphia for a little bit, but I really think that I would not give up on Sanders. I would not give up on him. That kid has shown an awful lot of moxie, and it's a dilemma that they put themselves in with having 4 guys there right now.
Right.
And I really think that I my gut tells me Sanders is going to be number 3, and but Flacco, he's going to start the year. We'll see what he can do. The Browns are just so messed up. I mean, they just don't have it on both sides of offense and defense, both sides of the ball. But I'm going to go with Flacco, but I do think that they will keep Pickens and Sanders.
Hey, George. I'm just expecting, like, when he goes into Pittsburgh and Flacco throws an interception, there's going to be a video up there of his kids going, "He stinks." to Flacco. I'm just imagining that happening.
All right, so who we got now? Who went already so far?
We all went. Or did you go get Candy?
I think Candy has to go.
Go ahead,
I don't think she
Candy.
wants to.
So it's Flacco's job right now to lose. Let's face it. Now, are they going to keep all these? No. I think unless they have a clear second, they need to shop whoever they can to get the most that they can for whoever wants one. Like, who is in the market that needs somebody, and shop that one, because
Right.
there isn't one that's going to stand out way much that I've heard of that is standing out way above all of the others. So, and you need a lot of help. So go with the help that you can get from, the most bang for your buck.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Flacco won there 2 years ago. Why they got rid of him is anybody's guess. He got him in the playoffs. That was dumb and stupid anyways. He won with them. Now, one of these other quarterbacks, whether Sanders or Gabriel, they're good trade bait. If there's a team or two that could be desperate, and you might land a bigger draft choice, like getting one of these now that they've competed in what they were worth when they were drafted in the first place. Now, since I'll steal this one from you, George, okay, maybe there is a Sanders that could land in Detroit, and they won't have to put him on layaway like Deion once said. Maybe Shedeur Sanders will take Hendon Hooker's place because this guy's awful.
Yeah.
He is he is going to make it. I don't know where he's going to end up, but I can see Dan Campbell looking to get rid of him. He's giving him every opportunity he can. but that's an exaggeration. I don't even think it's worth a hashtag because it's outright stupid of me to say it when I've seen crazier things. And I can only see the look on Deion Sanders' face as if Shedeur Sanders ends up in Detroit. Sorry, Deion, he won't have to go on layaway like you once thought you had to go on layaway. Period. That was bad. All right, let's go to my town. Jacob, lead off.
Well, Atlanta right now, they're at this point in time, we have an interesting little situation where nobody is playing games in the preseason. We're talking Penix, and we're talking Penix, and we're talking Cousins. Neither of them, which means 90% of the reps are going to the third stringers in the whole preseason. Ones that won't play, and then they're going to be wondering why they're struggling early in the year. They're having that. Meanwhile, the Braves are just about out of the thing, but they've won like 11 of 13 now. So it's what they're continuing to try. And the thing is, they're going to make themselves a run late and fall a little short because they were the one team that kept everybody when everybody else started to sell. So they're going to face a lot of those teams late. So it's going to be an interesting time over there, and they're probably going to fill their stadium again.
Candy.
Who wants a free hamburger? Oh, you missed it. It was today. Today was George Webb in Milwaukee. In its 23 chains, gave away free burgers because the Brewers won a winning streak of 12 in a row. This promotion goes back to the 1940s. How cool is that? That a restaurant in a town, in a small market town, celebrates their team the way they did. I just think it's cool. They also gave, now it remains to be seen how many they've given away today. Obviously, they ended the promotion. It was only like a 4-hour promotion. I think it was from 2 to 6 p.m. and that's Central Time. But they gave away over 100,000 vouchers for those that couldn't make it in that time. So at least they know they're giving away 100,000 burgers. Crazy. The Brewers are playing really well. I hope that continues. I hope they didn't get too hot too soon. I know they've been playing the Cubs, and they lost yesterday a doubleheader, but
and they're about to lose today.
They took the first game. So the one thing I'm going to say, Jacob, don't count them out until the game is over. They have come back so many times, and you know what? They've had so many different players do it. That's part of what's really kind of cool, is they've had different players come forward and do really well. One of the things Christian Yelich used, and I think this is really cool. He used a bat that he had that was a Bob Uecker bat. And on the day he used it, he went like 4 for 4 or 4 for 5, and he hit a home run. They showed one of the guys has Bob Uecker cleats on this past weekend when they did the players could choose things.
You're just fangirling. They're going to lose.
They can still lose to them, and they'll still be ahead of them in the standings, Jacob.
By 6 games.
So, but that's quite a bit.
Yeah, I know.
Considering the Cubs were ahead of them by
I know that. I'm well aware of that.
earlier.
I have a little fun with you here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I'm going to throw it back.
Yeah, we have a
I have
little
a little
rivalry
fun.
here, and it isn't Candy and I. It's Jacob and Candy this time. It's okay.
It depends on the sport. Now, if we get to go into football, yes, Scott and I, George and I have a little bit of a rivalry. Well, actually, Jacob does too, because you know his team and my team is the oldest rivalry in the NFL. Not that it's been much of a
I don't hate your team, though. I want to be your team.
So, but what I would say is from the preseason games that I've seen the Packers so far play, they really need to get back to discipline because they've had way too many penalties thrown, way too many false starts, holding, some of those penalties that they really need to clean up, as well as, and we've said this before, like the timing just doesn't seem right yet. But that's why they have preseason. So
All right, George. What's going on in your time? Now you can talk about Detroit because you have the permission to.
Oh, that's so nice of you. I appreciate that. 76 and 53, our beloved
Yeah,
Tigers.
don't get used to it.
76 and 53. They're won 9 out of 11, 9 and 2 in their last 11. Riley Green still striking out too much. Let's see here. He still leads the team with home runs, the 29 RBIs, 92. Spencer Torkelson, of course, at first is doing well. Torres has dropped off, the second baseman from the Yankees. I mean, he was real hot the first half, but the last month and a half, and Baez too, has been really going under the radar for a month and a half now. I mean, he made the All-Star team, but he really hasn't contributed much offensively. But all in all, they're doing okay. I mean, Tarek Skubal is a great pitcher. We all know that. But Casey Mize is another one who's had a hell of a year, 12 wins now. And the bullpen is maligned as they've been. Obviously picked up a little bit of steam here and has done well. Alex Lang is back, who was injured and out all of the year because of surgery. And of course, they got Vest in the bullpen and the new guy they picked up.
Hey, George, if you're going to name a roster, just name the whole damn roster if you're looking at it.
Sure, okay.
And the
Come on,
AAA,
really?
and the
Seriously,
AA
really? Is that the best you can take out of that?
Attendance has been well. They're selling out some of the games.
AA and AAA, what are they doing?
I'm
Hey,
not
George,
talking about
I'm
that.
going to put the words
Not
etc.
talking.
on yours. ETC ...
There you
What
go.
else?
That's it.
Good. All right, thanks.
We'll
Oh
talk
my
about the
God, I
Lions
swear to
another
God.
time.
I need a wine cooler or something to put me to sleep, although you came pretty close there. Give me a break. We know they're pretty good. And at least they have tonight and tomorrow night off after their impressive 3-game sweep of the Astros. That's all you had to stay sick of that. Impressive sweep of the Astros, okay? And they
There you
look good
go.
doing it. And shut them out a couple times instead. The guy's reading me a roster. Did you go to the game today?
Me?
I'm not
Did ya?
answering that. I'm not answering that.
Okay, don't. Then he must be looking at the roster on top of his computer. Okay. Anyways, all right, Chris. Now that George is getting riddled, roasted, or whatever he's got, there you go. Make sure it goes down the hatch, George. Okay, go ahead.
Well, if we're talking about my town, I got to talk about the Yankees. Last night, I'm sure you guys heard all the noise in Tampa, right? Yankees hit 9 home runs. They became the only team to hit 9 home runs in a game twice in the same season. And tonight they got 5 more home runs. So the bats are alive and awake. Hopefully the pitching could finish the job, the rest of the way and into the playoffs. 2 big things for the Yankees real quick. They need Max Fried to be the guy that he was in the first half of the season. And we need someone to close because Bedard blew the save tonight, but not going to hold it against him. Hopefully he could bounce back. But those are the 2 key players on the pitching side that we need because the bats are awake right now. And I'm loving it.
Okay. Well, my town goes to my alma mater, University of South Florida Bulls. First of all, our late basketball coach, Amir Abdur-Rahim, was inducted. He died a couple of years ago. I believe it was a heart attack, but it was too bad I met him. He's a super class act and taking a picture of him. Coach Rahim, rest in peace. I'm glad that USF put you in right away. Scott Heeman, obviously known for his baseball prowess, played there from 84 to 86. You have also Kitija Lexo, women's basketball 2015 to 2019. Kawika Mitchell, 1999 to 2002. And here's the big one of the group, Jim Levitt, inaugural coach for USF. I'll tell you what, I had a chance to meet Jim Levitt, and of course I once talked to him when he was here at FAU. Jim Levitt built that program from scratch. I hated to see him get let go. I know why they let him go. I'm not going to get into the details, but I am so glad that they put him in the USF Hall of Fame. I really, really, truly am. Built that program, had him a top 5 program right away. And if it weren't for Jim Levitt, the USF program wouldn't be around. They would be building an on-campus stadium. So it's only fitting as they're building an on-campus stadium that Jim Levitt goes in there. Great job, Jim. I'm really proud of you. And I had a chance to even interview him on the field after a USF game in Cincinnati for homecoming, and we had one of the most flamboyant interviews like you wouldn't believe. Chris, get ready for Friday night. But what Jim and I did on the field at Raymond James was classic. It was really classic. All right. One more segment, but I'm going to mention you guys a little bit, but I'm going to take this one. Unfortunately, yesterday, my uncle Bob Stroll passed away at the age of 83 weeks shire to his 81st birthday. But I'm going to bring another president into this. Former President Joe Biden was diagnosed with prostate cancer a few months ago. Thankfully, we don't have an RIP with Joe Biden yet, and I hope it's a while before we do have an RIP with Joe Biden. Mr. President, hope you get well. Hope you're taking the necessary treatment that you get. Nobody's going to question performance one way or the other, how you did on the job, but the reality is you served our country. That's good enough for me. But there is no RIP. But Bob Stroll's a different animal. He once owned a business called Old Pro Sporting Goods. My dad owned it. Sam Greenblatt, he's the reason I met George Eichhorn, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sam Greenblatt did. So Stroll being a co-owner, and that's where George and I got in contact, WXYZ Radio, and where we were today, and I wrote a book because of all of this. I owe a lot of that to my Uncle Bob. I really do. So Stroll is dead at the age of 80. Cancer, was diagnosed a couple months ago. They gave him 6 months to live. And as I mentioned, he would have been 81 3 weeks on the night. So Uncle Bob, number one, I appreciate the fact that he helped me get Jeeps, but more importantly, I want to thank you for everything you've done over the years. If it wasn't for you and my dad in the sporting goods business, I wouldn't be sitting in front of this national audience today, as well as all the different people that I've had the opportunity to entertain over the years, as well as write for. So Bob Stroll, Robert Stroll, rest in peace. Appreciate everything you did. What else can I say? Any closing thoughts, Jacob?
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to be able to see is we see so many darn injuries in this league. You know what I'm saying? In all sports, too many of them. Whether it's the pitchers, whether it's all the all the pulls we get from the hitters, whether it's the 3 or 4 weeks to get out as far as the running backs, whether it's in football. I mean, remember, no one stays all games all year, all time, all anymore. You're never going to see Cal Ripken's 2,600 straight games go out. You just won't. People don't play that long. But here's the thing I have to say. Think about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for a second, and Robert Parrish, and both played immense amount of games, 20 some odd years, and 16 seasons for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for 82 games, 16 straight, and you have to. And he did it with yoga, and he did it with being light on his feet and doing all that kind of stuff, and you have to wonder. Why aren't these strength and conditioning coaches at least putting that into their system? You know what I'm saying? Why aren't they? Because we don't have anywhere near enough athletes playing the whole way, and because they're getting hurt too easily. They're all trying to be way too powerful, and their muscles are tearing too easily. And it's like we should start getting a lot more flexibility than we need to get. You got to have your strength. Don't get that wrong, but you need to mix with some flexibility. And I'm just saying, somewhere, sometime down the line, we're going to have to figure something out there because too many of these guys are getting hurt.
Great point. Sorry, can't any closing thoughts.
All I would say is knowing, rest in peace to your uncle, but knowing that, don't live with regrets. Like, if you have a bucket list, don't wait. Do it now. None of us are promised tomorrow. Make the most of what you have right now.
Chris?
I'm going to say what Candy just said too. Condolences to you, Scott, and your family as well. Just live your life, right? No regrets. Don't look back. Look forward. I seen it the other day. There's a reason why the rear view mirror in your car is smaller than your front windshield, right? You got to keep that stuff behind you. You got to look forward. Right. Forward is more important than your past. Your past is your past. You can't change it. It's great. It's bad. Whatever it was, it's behind you now. Got to look forward and live your life.
Great stuff. And Chris, you've really done a marvelous job tonight. And I'm glad you're going to be permanently assigned to the Wednesday night Sports Exchange. This is where you belong at 9 o'clock. I've seen what you've done tonight, and you've been on a lot of shows, but this one you're more impressive act. You've done great everywhere I put you, but tonight you can finally say that this is where I'm going to be on every Wednesday night, every night. So look forward to seeing Chris every Wednesday night. George, any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Yes, finally the Ilitches did the right thing. Sergei Fedorov, number 91, will have his number retired up to the rafters at Little Caesars Arena in January in a game against Carolina.
What took
And
so
I know
long?
there's a lot of bad blood between Sergei and Red Wings management over the years, but I'm finally happy that they put things in the past and they're going to honor him, which he so rightly deserves.
Okay. Well, bottom line is his funeral is on Friday at 10 a.m. I won't be able to go there. My Alzheimer's disease, unfortunately, has progressed to a point where I can't really do anything on my own except maybe a 5 or 10 minute drive. It's all right. I'll be watching it when they stream it. But nevertheless, again, I bring it up tonight. I mentioned it yesterday, but I've had a full day to process it all. Life is too short, Candy, and everybody's right. You have to have a bucket list. And that's why I put international travel on mine. Have fun with it on these shows once in a while because we come up with off-the-wall stuff that validate my passion and my bucket list. And I think the biggest lesson I've learned this summer is as much as I've enjoyed international travel like I have, I want to do more of it. So even though I won't be able to be up there Friday, I'm still looking forward to Friday night at the fights. The way you guys are building it up anyways, with the viewership projected to be high, it'll be good. No, all kidding aside, it'll be good to have fun with Anthony Savino. I think I want to build this up as two experienced baseball people talking baseball, and I hope that you and Rob have the biggest audience you've ever had, because it might force you guys to scratch your head and bring us back again, and then I'm gonna have both of you guys act as Savino and my agents, so you guys can make money and we can make money and we can make a lot of people happy with what you're about to see Friday at 10 a.m. So 10 p.m. So with that said, yeah, it will be so much fun. It will. So with that said, I'm going to let everybody have the opportunity to get a hold of them. All right, Jacob, you lead off. Thanks, Rob.
Well, I'm on, as Chris knows, I am on Facebook, and I totally never ever give my opinion on anything ever. So I mean, it's like no one ever sees anything I ever say. Right. So it's like, it's like, so I mean, there's that. And then there's TikTok where I also never give my opinion. And then there's, but I get that. I'm on the Sideline One Sports for that. I'm also not too often on Instagram, but I do that. So I do those things. Plus I write once in a blue moon when I get a chance and I'm not working. So I do those things. So I just keep myself busy.
Great stuff. We're glad you're here on Sports Exchange, everyone.
And I got to get out of here because I got a long day tomorrow, man.
That's all right. That's why I let you lead off first so you can get done.
Take care of yourself.
We appreciate it.
Thanks,
we'll see you next Wednesday night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care, Jacob.
All right. Well, at least I know one person I've called on. All right. Go ahead there, Chris.
Yeah. I'm at, obviously, NYMLB Talk, and Friday night, 10 o'clock. Don't forget. Check us out. Scott will be there. Anthony Savino, we're going to have a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Talking baseball. I'm really looking forward to it because we're going to have a fun time. I'm on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at CP7NY. You can follow me there. And listen, like we were saying before, like life is too short. So Scott, if you want to build that racetrack for Candy, I think it's time you do it. You know what I mean? Stop holding back. Just do it. Just do it.
Don't get me started. You know darn well I will. Doesn't take a whole lot to get me started. Really? Seriously? Really? Oh, I was waiting for my moment to do that tonight. Oh, really? Seriously? Really? Yeah, by the way, I want to thank Rob and Chris for promoting my book continuously on their platform as well. Kudos to you, Rob and Chris. At least I can tell you to your face, and him. Pretend I'm telling it to your face, even though I'll do it on Friday night. All right, Eichhorn, go ahead. You and I, by the way, have a show. By the way, tomorrow Sports Wrap, myself, George Eichhorn, and our special guest is Ken Cal, right? George, is all ready to go?
Yes. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. You can reach me at gichorn@yahoo.com. You can read me at the South Florida Tribune under the contributors section. At the end of my column is linked to Amazon, My book is called Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. Thank you for the photo of that cover. And it's a great book. Scott's in there, I'm in there, but the most important person in there is the broadcaster that you out there might have loved to listen to. And that's the guys like Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Ray Lane, and of course, George Blahan, and just a whole bunch of guys. I can be reached also at Twitter, Sanji Sports 99, or on Facebook under George Eichhorn. And good to be part of the show. Awesome, Chris, for you joining the lineup. That's a great move. We really welcome you. You're doing great.
Thank
Yeah,
you, George.
Chris is fantastic. Rob's great too. Rob did a heck of a job on that Mets show that we had on Monday night. Boy, we really had
Mets, who are they?
great show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I've had a bunch of people this year, but Rob and Chris, these two guys are unbelievable. I'm in their group chat. I really enjoy with these two guys and going on their shows, and we have a lot of good things that all three of us are planning. And that's what happens when you collaborate with the right people. Rob and Chris are two of a kind. Okay.
I agree.
All right, Candy, take us home.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth, but the foreword is written by George Eichhorn. These two go back just a couple of years, I don't know, 30, 40, something like that. Anyways, you can get this book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights on Sports Exchange, you never know what you're going to get. Thursday night, Sports Wrap. Typically, they talk hockey. And then on Fire Up, tune in. You never know what you're going to get on that show. But then I would also like to introduce that Scott introduced a new show to the lineup. It happened last Saturday. You can catch the inaugural episode if you go to our YouTube channel. It is called Talking Baseball. And he has former manager Mickey Callaway on that show. So that's going to be Saturday mornings. They're going to not do one this week, but they'll be back. And they're going to have all kinds of interesting guests. They're going to have former players, former managers, coaches. You'll have to tune in to see that. But if you see that red subscribe button, that means you have not subscribed to us yet. Like us, share us with all your friends and family. Turn on your notifications. Then whenever we put up an interesting video, you can go and see it. Scott did an interview with Bob Ryan this past weekend. Actually did it a week and a half ago, but we put it up this weekend. You gotta go check it out. It was a really good, really interesting interview. And yes, if you see that, it's maybe a little bit long, go play a little bit now, go back to it later. It's a really interesting, it's got a lot of interesting facts in there. And I would just encourage everybody. And if anybody wants, I know I've said this before, if you want to listen to Scott sing, your one chance, go to YouTube, make your own type. What is it? Make your own music?
Make your own kind of. You didn't even. First of all, you didn't even believe it was a song until I pulled it up and said, "It really is." I played it to her in the morning.
I think it's time for a second, a second song by Scott.
Well, I'm still waiting to hear Rob's first one.
Let's hope we wait a long time for that one.
Why is it that bad?
I don't know.
Did he even do one? Guy said he was going to do one. I'm going to really let him have it. Not on Friday. All my energy.
Maybe you guys could do a duet. Maybe
Oh,
you never
God
know.
help me. Yeah, if you're looking to wake up the dead, put us up and we'll do a duet.
So wait, we'll do the fighting this Friday night, and then maybe next Friday night we do a duo that you guys singing, and make a different segment.
Whatever Scott wants. If Scott wants to do it, I'm in.
All right, yeah, we got Callaway on the following week, so we got to have a couple big shows with these guys. These guys are awesome. I'm telling you, Rob and Chris, go ahead and check out their stuff too, man. MLB Talk, New York MLB Talk, whatever the hell it is great.
I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but Scott is going to do a big interview this coming weekend. So turn on that notifications so you get notified anytime the videos go up. So you'll be able to see who he lands for his big interview.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention any names yet. We'll see what happens. I'd like a TBD on that. That's what this business is all about. But Chris, I'm gonna tell you, you and Robert are classic. I'm looking forward to being there Friday night. And I'm gonna tell you one thing about you guys. You guys run a great operation, anyways. I'm just glad that you're a part of the South Florida Tribune family. You are. I don't know who your dog was, but that was a pretty cute dog that you have there. Pretty good stuff.
Thank you.
So, with that said, that does wrap it for this edition of the Sports Exchange. On behalf of Jacob Christner, Candy Ebling, Chris, and George, my name is Scott Morgan, North Florida City Band. Thank you for joining us. And you know what? I will see you tomorrow with George, and then I will see you Friday night. And how can everybody go out there and watch that thing was
Boxing match on Friday night.
Yeah. How can they do it, Chris?
Just go on YouTube, Facebook Live, and on through X at NYMLB Talk.
There you go. That's how
around.
it's supposed to be.
NYMLB Talk. Yep.
NYMLB Talk. There you go, people.
There you go.
Scott, Anthony, Rob, and Chris. Ready? Let's get ready to roll on Friday night at 10. A funeral at 10 in the morning, and I'll be firing away at 10 at night. Go Nelly. So that does it for us. We'll see you next Wednesday night. Same 5 of us, unless I find a 6. But I like this group of 5. I think it's pretty good. All right. Good night, everybody. See you next week.